Hello, my friends. Welcome to this last special Poetry Changes Lives reading. It's coming towards the the end of the main Christmas events, and I've got a Christmas cake. I haven't had one for several years, but I've been given one by a very dear friend, and I'm going to show it to you now if I can. Here we are. Look at this. Isn't it amazing? This lovely snow scene with a snowman and some presents in the snow. I don't know if Santa dropped them by mistake in the snow or what. And there's a tree in the background, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's full of goodness. I can sort of smell it, and I'm sure my grandchildren are going to find that a very exciting thing to look at and perhaps have a slice of, or more than a slice. I'm really very happy to have that. It's made my Christmas very, very special. And the poem I've chosen to read today is a voice from 200 years ago talking about a gift of a Christmas cake at that time. So it's a very relevant poem I'm going to read. This is by an English lady called Helen Maria Williams. The title of the poem is To Mrs. K, on her sending me an English Christmas plum cake at Paris. That's a very delightful title for a poem anyway, but the backstory is that the writer Helen Maria Williams was a very well-known English lady of her time. She was born in the second half of the 18th century and was a very free-thinking sort of person, unusual for those times. And of course, the end decades of the 18th century were a time of amazing upheaval across the world. The American Revolution, 1776, was followed by the French Revolution of 1789. And Helen Maria Williams very much supported the French Revolution, probably the English one as well. She was very anti-slavery as well, and was a fighter for the rights of the poor and that kind of thing. She supported the French Revolution to the extent of going to France while it was happening. And she was actually imprisoned during the Reign of Terror as a suspected English spy. 1792, around then, but eventually released, and she continued to live in France for most of the rest of her life. She was friends with other poets like Wordsworth, for example, who was also a great supporter of the French Revolution, and another poet who visited France and, of course, famously supported the French to the extent of fathering a child with a French girl, a child who he never lived with but supported for the rest of his life. Wordsworth was very fond of his French daughter. She did visit him on at least one occasion in England, and he, I don't know what his sister Dorothy thought about it all, or his wife, but anyway, Wordsworth was very true to his French connections, and he knew, and in fact wrote a sonnet about this Helen Maria Williams that I'm talking about. He wrote a sonnet in response to seeing her in tears over injustice that she had witnessed. I'm going to read this poem by Helen Maria Williams now about the plum cake she received. I think it's very delightful. It's got a sort of underlying tone of nostalgia and slight sort of longing for the old country, but at the same time it's very cheerful. I like this very much. What crowding thoughts around me wake, what marvels in a Christmas cake. Oh, say, what strange enchantment dwells enclosed within its odorous cells? Is there no small magician bound, encrusted in its snowy round? For magic surely lurks in this, a cake that tells of vanished bliss. A cake that conjures up to view the early scenes when life was new, when memory knew no sorrows past, and hope believed in joys that last. Mysterious cake whose folds contain life's calendar of bliss and pain, that speaks of friends forever fled, and wakes the tears I love to shed. Oft shall I breathe her cherished name, from whose fair hand the offering came. For she recalls the artless smile of nymphs that deck my native isle, of beauty that we love to trace, allied with tender, modest grace, of those who while abroad they roam, retain each charm that gladdens home, and whose dear friendship can impart a Christmas banquet for the heart. Isn't that delightful? I absolutely love my cake. Oft shall I breathe the cherished name, from whose fair hand this offering came. Thank you, Colleen. Isn't it nice to have a gift that you can really enjoy? And I think others will be enjoying it tomorrow when I meet up with a lot of my family members. So there we are. We're talking there about Christmas in a foreign land. It's very nice to, I can relate to that poem so much because I lived in Paris and I was there at Christmas once as a young man. And it's very nice to receive reminders from home, things that are quintessentially English when you're living in a foreign land. And I like those lines, allied with tender, modest grace of those who while abroad they roam, retain each charm that gladdens home. And this cake retains so much charm. See those Christmas presents lying in the snow. I wonder what's in them. I'm going to find out soon. Thank you all for listening. I wish you a very happy and peaceful weekend. And next week we'll be starting a whole new year. What's that going to bring, I wonder? Thanks for listening today.